You have to see what's happening to Bitcoin right now, as we've already broken out towards this range and target that we had drawn out yesterday of around that $33,000 to $34,000 level. I'm going to talk about why I don't believe Bitcoin is going to stop here, what our potential price target is now that we've broken out, and what to look for to identify a blow off top, because we've yet to see the traits of a blow off top with Bitcoin. And of course, let's talk about altcoins and what's happening with Ethereum. And I've got some insider info, and that $36,000 level right now is what I'm watching for a potential target, because if you take the schematics from the previous breakout, as we've done before, to actually predict this and this breakout target, you can see so far we're lying right below that $36,000 level, specifically $35,500, and that actually aligns with some of the insider info that I've actually gotten from whales inside of the sphere. And for those in our Discord, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say the insider info. Of course, nothing is guaranteed, but I've heard some things, and this is just what I've heard from the grapevine. By the way, if you appreciate this content, remember to like this video, as it very much helps our channel. But I want to talk about more than just our price target, because of course you can see we broke out of this resistance level yesterday, and now that we've broken out of that, we've yet to test any of these major support levels, but we do have major support at that monthly open at 29,000, and we've also got a new CME gap at 29,700, and interestingly enough, we've also got this weekly open down here at 26,400, and so all of these are going to act as very strong support for Bitcoin. But I want to talk about a blow off top, because the main indicator of a blow off top is going to be significant volume, and the main thing that we've seen so far, if we pull up a smaller time frame with Bitcoin, is very bullish volume. And I'll talk about what I mean. You can see when we saw this major sell stick here, we saw this huge buy volume come in that overtook the amount of sell volume that came in here as soon as we dipped at that $35,000 or $30,000 level. And that to me is showing us that institutions, maybe like PayPal, for example, are taking advantage of every dip. And I said in the Discord, as soon as we dipped here, this is very bullish volume. And then of course you can see we've seen a continuation to the upside since then. And so when you see volume like this, and volume that of course you can see is on the bullish side, because there's more green than red here after a major push to the downside, that is a very strong indicator of strength to the upside, and I don't believe we're going to stop here just yet. We've yet to see any signs of a blow off top. When we're looking for a blow off top, we want to see a major candle come in with major sell volume that overtakes a lot of these candles. There's a lot of price action, so preferably we see multiple daily candlesticks get submerged by this candle, and that's a blow off top. But really it's the volume that you look for when it comes to a blow off top. I want to talk about what's really interesting with Bitcoin dominance, because remember we were watching this chart, we're above 73% dominance now. This was the bad scenario for altcoins, and so you can see we're breaking through this major resistance and support level that dates back to 2017. And I think that initially Bitcoin was going to give altcoins a chance, but of course the SEC came in, they started to smell things that they didn't like, and they came out and they ruined the altcoin cycle potentially. And what I mean by that is we have a Ripple lawsuit in February, of course. We've got CME futures for Ethereum launching in February as well, which if you remember the last bull market, it ended when Bitcoin CME futures launched, because now institutions had the ability to short. Now this is a very different bull market, but realize that the SEC may be ruining the party right now when it comes to altcoins, because Bitcoin dominance is showing extreme strength, and this is beyond any strength that we've ever seen. Even at that altcoin cycle from 2019, we are now beyond the Bitcoin dominance level there, which is very important to keep in mind. And remember, at the end of the day, we were going to give this 3 weeks to really say that there's no more altcoin cycles. And what we're going to watch here is on others' dominance, are we going to test the 50, 100, or even the 200 period moving average when it comes to the weekly chart, because that could be a potential sign of an altcoin cycle. But so far, with what's happening right now, you can see with this candle, we've yet to come even close to these moving averages. And when we look at a chart like the DXY, for example, that was a strong indicator of a prolonged bear market when we never tested these moving averages after breaking down. But the latter case to that is if we do test these moving averages like what happened here, then it could be a potential sign of a bull cycle, which is why we're going to give it 3 weeks. Now let's look at Ethereum and talk about what's happening with Ethereum, because it's doing exactly what we'd expect it to do with a potential, altcoin cycle that's called off, which of course it's the season for calling things off with, what happened in 2020. And so it's a very big possibility, and we want to be like Bruce Lee and be like water and be nimble and adaptable. So even though we may have expected an altcoin cycle, we need to be adaptable about it. And I think a big reason we're seeing such a strong push to Bitcoin is all of these arising altcoin discrepancies and uncertainties, which investors don't like. Uncertainties, that's just the truth of the nature. And so when we look at Ethereum to Bitcoin's chart, it's just looking like a bearish wick so far, and we've got about 18 hours left for this weekly candle. So unfortunately, things are not looking the best for these altcoins right now. Initially, they were looking good, but then the SEC came out and started talking about all of these things that they never brought up in the past, and of course that seems like it may be ruining the game. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and remember to like this video if you guys appreciate this content. Once again, it really helps our channel out. And let's move on to Ethereum, to the US dollar chart. That of course is doing fine. We talked about, even if Ethereum doesn't do well against Bitcoin, of course it was a low risk trade because the Ethereum to US dollar chart was going to go up anyways if Bitcoin went up, and if Bitcoin went down, all altcoins would have seen some blood. And of course, if Bitcoin went down, I actually would have expected Ethereum to possibly outperform Bitcoin, and we've seen that at times. And so it was not a bad idea to be in Ethereum, but of course we might have to be a little bit more careful now. Now, we're not saying that the party's over just yet, but we are saying be careful and watch yourself. I do want to talk about this BNB trade because I love trading oscillators. We took this trade on our Discord yesterday, and this was actually today at 8:15 a.m. with an entry of 38.10 and a stop at 37.05. I want to talk about why and how I set these stop losses to ensure proper risk management, because you can see that trade did hit targets. And I love trading BNB to the US dollar chart because you can see it is a beautiful oscillator that's recently formed a new all-time high in the US dollar value, and it's always fun to trade oscillators, not degenerates. And when we look at what happened here, you can see we sent this trade out right around that 8 a.m. So it was right around this time here when we saw this push to the upside, and then we saw this initial rejection. This to me was proof that we wanted to go higher, because I knew that 38.10 in the past was a resistance level, and you can see we stayed below that during this cycle here. And then of course, when we eventually came up and broke through this, it was proof that this was a very strong resistance, and that acted as support here. And so I knew as we started to come up with this bullish momentum and this rising buy volume that it was a possible opportunity to get into the BNB trade. And of course that eventually came in and led to about 2% profits. On leverage, we're looking at 4 to 9% profits. And of course this stop loss, you can see, was below the monthly open. And so sometimes what I like to do is if I'm entering a trade and there's a monthly open sitting down below, I know that I can use that monthly open as a support level and set my stop below that monthly open, which the stop was set at 37.05 here, as you can see with this chart, while the entry was right around that 37.10 mark, or that 38.10 mark. And I'll actually just draw this out here. I thought there was already a line. So if you look at the entry here, it was at 38.10. Let's go ahead and draw this out for you. And so this right here was exactly where we entered around 8 a.m. as we came up to test this, and we saw this initial pullback. We just came in on an entry right at that hourly 100 period test, and then of course that pushed up further, and even when it pulled back down, it didn't hit that stop. And so I am still in this trade, and of course I'm expecting more upside for this trade. And if you guys want to join our Discord, the link is in the description below. But I didn't want to take too much of your time. I know we have more videos coming, of course, but realize that my target right now is going to be that $35,500 to $36,000 level. And from the inside info that I've heard from whales and from what I'm seeing in this chart, I think that's a very reasonable target. And remember the signs that we're looking for a blow off top. So far, we've yet to see that when it comes to volume. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching this video. I will see you tomorrow. And with that, snipers out.